Hey, what's up, friends? You got Gypsy back here today with my Week 10 match at the CPC. Today we're taking on 681 Shadow, my good friend Joey. He's the commissioner of the CPC, along with John. So yeah, this man's put a lot of work into this league, and yeah, I take my hat off to him for it. But yeah, he's been a friend of mine for a long time now, and we're playing today. He's got a pretty threatening team. He's got the Zardex, you know my boy Zardex, my fat lizard from the CPC off season 20. He's rocking Zardex in his team. But not only that, he's got that Zard Manaphy core. Like, I know you guys out there know how powerful these two are together. And then he's got Serp. He's got a nice Keldeo check, quote unquote, in Seismitoad. He's also got a pretty threatening team. He also had Fortress to block to spin away for Zard, but he chose not to bring it this game, which I thought was quite an interesting choice. But he felt as though these other options would be more effective. I spoke to him after the game. But you know, I see the Zard, and obviously, like, I recognize that rocks are essential to wearing that thing down. Putting a Manaphy and Superior up to hazard damage. They're in guaranteed range to die to cure him, so very important. But I'm gonna go over the team that I brought today. So first up, we have Scarf Kyurem. Pretty great versus his team, as you guys can see. He didn't bring Fortress, so I don't even have to like fear too much about spamming Outrage, spamming like even Ice Beam, for example. Like he doesn't have a resist. Well, his resist is Manaphy, and that thing gets murked by Fusion Bolt and Outrage. So pretty standard, just Scarf Kyurem. Pretty solid in this matchup. I don't really like Scarf Kyurem, but in this particular matchup, it was, I felt, the best option. I'm creeping in a max speed Adamant Zard. I'm running like 300 speed, so just in case he wants to run like Adamant Zard, which people like to run like Adamant spreads versus my team, because before I picked up Keldeo, like my team was fairly slow. So people tend to favor like more offensive spreads rather than like speedier spreads. So if he does want to run that sort of DD Zard set, I can capitalize on that by running a faster Scarf Kyurem. Next up, we have a defensive Golurk. Here to set rocks. I can tank a +1 Dragon Claw or Fledblitz from Zard. That's how fat this Golem is. I've got EQ, I've got Dynamic Punch in case like I'm in a position where I can spam it. Then Fire Punch is there for the Fortress. I'm defensive, so Fire Punch will be doing very little to the Fortress, but it's still nice to have an option to, like, it does like almost half, so if I can confuse him, hit him with Fire Punch, like he's not spinning on my Golurk, because I'm a Ghost type, but if I can prevent him from like spreading all his hazards of his own, then that'll be really nice versus my team. Then we have my Assault Vest Tangrowth, pretty standard. Nothing too crazy. It's actually just a lame max spread this week, just to take on the Manaphy as best as possible. Also switches into Superior. I can comfortably tank like +2 Life Orb HP fires and deal considerable damage with Sludge Bomb, putting it in guaranteed range to die to Kyurem. Kyurem only needs like less than 30% off on the Superior to take him out with Ice Beam or Outrage respectively. So getting chip on stuff like Superior is definitely essential, and it's nice to have him on in Tangrowth that can do the job. Then we have my Keldeo set, just running Specs Keldeo this week because he doesn't really have a switch into Keldeo. Like Seismitoad obviously tanks water hits, eats them up. With his water absorb ability, if he chooses to run that, I don't think Swift Swim is good versus me, so water absorb would make sense. However, you know, it's going to struggle to switch into it. It dies to 2 Secret Swords specs after Toxic, Spike damage, and Stealth Rock. So yeah, definitely a solid mon in this matchup. I'm running enough defense to live a +1 Dragon Claw from the Zardex, which is pretty nice. If he is Jolly, if he's Adamant, I think it's more like a roll, but it does, like, I do have a chance to live that too. And then we have my mixed defensive Drapion, rocking Taunt, T-Spikes, Whirlwind, and Knockoff. I'm able to phase Manaphy. I can leave a +3 Scald potentially. I can set up T-Spikes. As you guys can see, he has no way to remove T-Spikes. T-Spikes affect 4 of his 6 mons. It also absorbs his opposing Weezing's T-Spikes, so very nice to have on the team. Bulky enough to obviously chew hits from Zard. I can chew like 1 Fledblitz and, you know, phase him out if he does want to start DDing up on me. And then we have defensive Slowking, essentially like Slowbro. My best check to Zardex. Rocking Rocky Helmet and T-Wave, you know, the good move. Slack off Psychic, and my last move I think is Ice Beam or Flamethrower for the Superior. That's pretty much it. I'm going to jump into the match. We lead off with Drapion because, as I said, like getting up early rocks is getting up early T-spikes is pretty nice for his team. Putting, as I said, Superior and Manaphy in range of Kyurem. Also taunting his potential own hazard lead is something very nice, and I knew that I could live anything barring like a modest specs crit earth power. I do have a lot of speed F, so I have like a naturally high defense stat, so I can easily take on this Seismitoad once. Even if I die here to 2, at least I taunt him preventing rocks and get up my own T-spikes, which would be very nice. So just go for the taunt turn 1 as he tries to set up his rocks. We're looking good. I set up my own T-spikes here as he just fires off a Scald, revealing that he actually more than likely doesn't have earth power, because there was no reason not to go for it there. Like, I could have switched out to my Tangrowth on the potential earth power, eating it up, and you know, I don't know, maybe Scald, maybe he does have earth power, but he's just not revealing it. But you know, after the match, I did sort of come to the assumption that he didn't actually have earth power. So I'm just gonna, he just fires off a Scald, doesn't get the burn, and now he's gonna switch out to his Zard, as I just hit him with a knockoff, and this knockoff does a decent amount. Like, I'm not invested. I know that stab and Drapion isn't weak, but I'm feeling this is more of an offensive Zard, so I'm just going to make the switch out right now. I have no reason to stay in when I can use this Drapion to also phase. If he's like a sub Superior, I can phase him with Whirlwind. If he's like a sub Leech Seed, which could be kind of annoying with like Leaf Storm and HP Fire, could be pretty annoying for my team. Having my like bulky Drapion in the back could be pretty crucial. It also comfortably switches in on Wheezing, taunts it, knocks it off and phases it and such. So yeah, going into my Slowking is the play here. As he just goes for the EQ, gets a crit, does 35, so unfortunate, but what can you do? I'm going to heal it up with Regenerator. Now here, I switch out because I feel as though it's in his best interest not to stay in with Zard, like, and get T-Waved. T-Wave on like Slowbro and Slowking is pretty, like, as a response to Zard, it's pretty like standard. So I did expect him to at least scout for the T-Wave. So I did switch out to my Golurk, but he just stays in and goes to the Dragon Claw, and you guys can see I eat that up quite comfortably, but I had a feeling a Fleblitz was coming my way, and I didn't want to risk Golurk going down here, as I did want to get my Stealth Rocks up versus a more passive mon like his Wheezing. But he actually switches out himself. He goes into his Seismitoad. As I actually EQ there. I did run the calc. This happened. This match happened a few days ago. It's not as clear in my mind. I go for the EQ there because, judging by the damage, I did live a Flare Blitz, and just getting up, it wasn't worth like rocking there and like potentially letting his Zard set up or something. EQ was my play 100%. So he brings in his Seismitoad, and right here, like, because he took so much from that EQ, he's not defensive. I know that for sure. I would have expected like a defensive Seismitoad to tank, to potentially tank hits from Specs Keldio's Secret Sword, like if that is his Keldeo answer on the team. But this is looking more of an offensive Seismitoad, or maybe even like a fast Seismitoad. So while I would have loved to stay in and get my rocks up, it just wasn't worth losing my Golurk, who could again tank a hit from Zard if I needed to. So I'm getting Lefty's recovery as well, so I'm definitely now in range not to die to a Flare Blitz, so keeping Golurk is pretty nice around. I'm just going to go into my Tangrowth as he goes for the rocks of his own. So unfortunately we could have just stayed in and, you know, got our rocks up, but again, it wasn't worth you know, making the dumb like try hard play and potentially losing a valuable mod on the team. He knocks off my AV, which, whilst it does limit my ability to check Manaphy and Superior, I can still check them because I am so specially defensive. I don't die, I'm not OHKO'd by Manaphy, even without my Assault Vest from an Ice Beam. Unless he's like a Life Orb variant, which I don't think he will be. So I'm not too worried about like Tangrowth losing his Assault Vest there. It was a trade I was willing to make because now his switch-ins to Keldeo, I can spam Scald freely. Manaphy is going to take quite a chunk from like a Specs Hydra or a Specs Scald switching in, and it's going to be taking the Toxic Spike damage. So I was comfortable with that trade right there, as I'm not too threatened by Manaphy, as I do have my hazards up. Now in comes his Wheezing. I felt as though he would bring his Wheezing in rather than going hard into Superior, as I could have had Sludge Bomb, and Superior has to like start spamming Leaf Storms before it can effectively threaten my Tangrowth. So I was happy to see the Wheezing come in here, as I'm just going to go into my Golurk and take this opportunity to set up my rocks, because I know that if anything he's just going to attack with Wheezing or fire for Willow. He goes to the Flamethrower and we get the 10% burn, so pretty unfortunate, but In the big scheme of things, he was just really here to set up rocks, as I do have other ways to check the Zard. So I get up my rocks, and now we're looking good. I'm just going to, this turn I'm going to sack off my Golek. No point trying to predict and like go into something like Keldeo and potentially getting burnt, because as I said, Keldeo is quite bulky and it can comfortably take a Dragon Claw from Zard. He's real Dragon Claw, so don't expect him to have Outrage. So Keldeo is pretty nice versus the rest of his team. I'm just going to click Surf. I'm running Surf over Hydro this week because I can't afford to miss Hydro versus Zard. If I'm in a situation where Zard is like set up and I know I can take a Dragon Claw if he's most likely Jolly. In my opinion, he needs Jolly to outspeed Kyurem, so Jolly is in his best interest to run. If I'm in a situation where I needed to get a big hit off versus the Zard to put it in range to either like Rocky Helmet or Poison, it wasn't worth running Hydro. It's just not. Like Surf does a ton. It puts it in range of Poison and Rocky Helmet, and that's all I needed. It does significantly more than Scald. Like it does enough, a higher amount than Scald to be valuable, and definitely not worth risking the Hydro miss this game. So I did choose to run Surf. I see he goes for the Endure here, so very interesting set. I see Endure. I immediately come to the conclusion that he's more than likely cussed up. I'm not going to risk Keldeo here. I smell the explosion coming from a mile away, so or the Destiny Bond. I just go into my Drapion. As he fires the Destiny Bond off, which is a really good building by Shadow. Really nice brew on his part, but that was kind of obvious because otherwise he wouldn't really run like Weezing without cussed up Endure. So he just goes for the Willow here. I'm just going to phase him with Whirlwind, potentially like not allowing him to get a favorable matchup in versus my Drapion. We do Whirlwind him out. Weezing's going to die in entry. As in comes the Raichu thing. So now I'm in a position where like he could Volt out and go into something like Zard. So I'm just going to click Whirlwind once more, but he actually goes for the Volt Tackle here. So my bulky Drapion tanks that pretty comfortably. And I'm getting lefty, so it's kind of like reducing the effect of burn, so it's not too bad. Right here, it was actually a roll. It was a roll to take me out. I had a pretty decent chance to live a Scald from his Manaphy, unless he was modest. If he was timid Manaphy, I'd had a chance to live, like a pretty reasonable chance. But he is just gonna go for the Scald here. I clicked Whirlwind just in case he wanted to get greedy and set up, but attacking was his play there, as I'd already shown Whirlwind. I was happy to spam Whirlwind with Drapion. I'm not playing any more aggressively than I need to. Like I don't need to try and preserve like a really like a 6-0 differential when he has a team full of threats. I'm just playing smart. There's no reason to play any other way in this match. In comes Tangrowth. I know I can tank an Ice Beam and take him out with Leaf Storm, but he's just going to go into his Zard, which is fine. And so get the Leaf Storm damage off. Does 17, does a decent amount for a quad resisted hit. And he's just going to take the poison damage. As now I switch into my Slowking, who just walls this Zard pretty effectively. And he goes to the Flare Blitz, which doesn't do too much, but even for a resisted hit, it does 27. It's, I don't know, Slowking 8 up the hit pretty comfortably. Now in comes the Raichu. No point sacking off Slowking there when it can check the Manaphy without it being set up. So he goes for the Nuzzle here and paralyzes my Tangrowth, which I'm not too worried about. It means I can't get Scald burned, which is pretty nice. I can't get Willowed by the Weezing. I just go for the Sludge Bomb here. The reason I went for Sludge Bomb was like he could have predicted me to go for the EQ or the like Giga Drain right here. Sludge Bomb was the play, trying to hit his incoming Superior. And we do a decent chunk to it. We get a nice amount of damage off. It does a clean 51%. And the best Superior can really do to me is like fire off an HP Fire or a Leaf Storm if he had it, but he just goes for the Dragon Pulse, which does only does 20%. So he sacks off the Weezing here. I think that was I think there was a misclick on his part, but it doesn't really change the outcome because now Manaphy, you guys are going to see, only does 46% with the Ice Beam. So yeah, Tangrowth, even though it has such poor special defense, when invested combined with its massive HP stat, it's tanking hits pretty well, even without the Assault Vest. So I'm just going to take him out with the Leaf Storm here. Tangrowth raking up the kills, as Raichu's going to come in here and try and finish me off. But I'm going to go out to my Kyurem because I at least wanted to get one kill with this guy, keep him in the MVP race, as his Volt Tackle does very little to Kyurem. And I can just click Outrage here and grab the kill. So there we have it. That's my week 10 match in the CPC. We are, I think after this we are 9-1 with a plus 33 differential, I believe. So we are top of the league, and hopefully we can keep it going. We've got our playoff spot is like locked, it's guaranteed. But next week we face off against my boy Matty Brolick, who we played earlier in the season. I'm really looking forward to that match. Hopefully we can have a nice fun match. Like this match isn't like, it's not important in the sense that both our playoff positions are locked. Matty's had a fantastic season, and he's also got a huge differential. So I'm sure we're just gonna have a fun one. But you know, we're gonna bring some fun sets, but obviously try and come out with a win. So I look forward to that, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like on the video and let me know what you thought of the team in the match in the comments. And once again, if you guys aren't subbed to my channel and you would like to see more draft content, feel free to subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.